Back in 2024, Chennedy Carter shocked the basketball world after delivering a controversial hit on Caitlin Clark that sparked major debate across the WNBA. The incident raised serious questions about her future, and after Chicago moved on from her, no WNBA team signed her for the 2025 season. Instead, she continued her career by playing in Mexico and China before appearing on a podcast where she expressed regret and worked to rebuild her image. That eventually led to a new opportunity with the Las Vegas Aces, leaving many fans wondering if she had truly earned another chance. On July 5th, Carter finally faced the Indiana Fever for the first time since that unforgettable moment, but the game did not go the way she hoped. Sophie Cunningham, widely viewed by fans as one of Caitlin Clark's strongest teammates and defenders, played tough throughout the matchup and made life difficult for Carter, limiting her impact and becoming one of the game's biggest talking points. If you enjoyed Sophie's performance, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's take a closer look at the history between Chennedy Carter, Caitlin Clark, and the Indiana Fever, and why this matchup attracted so much attention.
Carter and Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter, I think that's going to be a flagrant one. And
June 2024, during a game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever, one of the most talked about moments of the season unfolded. After the ball had already gone out of bounds and the play was over, Caitlin Clark wasn't even looking toward Chennedy Carter when Carter suddenly lowered her shoulder and knocked Clark to the floor. There was no active play, no loose ball, and no basketball reason for the contact, making the incident instantly controversial. The referees initially ruled it a common foul, a decision that surprised many fans and analysts. As criticism quickly spread, the play was reviewed and later upgraded by the WNBA to a flagrant 1 foul. Despite the hard hit, Clark stayed composed, got back on her feet, and said that basketball is an emotional and competitive game where things can happen in the heat of the moment. Carter, however, declined to discuss Clark after the game, refusing to answer reporters' questions about the incident and ending the conversation before it really began.
And Kennedy, just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that moment between you and Caitlin. What was on that play, what was said, and kind of what led to.
Next question.
Yeah, I mean, like, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit.
Yeah.
After
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough. We're good. She's good.
After that controversy, Chicago decided not to bring Chennedy Carter back, even though she was averaging 17.5 points per game. The move surprised many because her scoring numbers were strong, but it suggested the organization believed other issues outweighed her on-court production. Reports at the time indicated there had been ongoing concerns about her fit within the team, and many believed those problems ultimately influenced the decision. One anonymous league executive reportedly described her reputation with a single word: radioactive, reflecting the belief that teams were unwilling to take the risk despite her talent. As free agency unfolded, every other WNBA team also passed on signing Carter, leaving her without a contract and making it clear that, at least at that time, organizations across the league were not prepared to offer her another opportunity.
Seriously, she needs to do whatever she can to get some help, get her anger under control, where she will not have another incident like the one where she slammed into Caitlin Clark, but she's out of the league.
With no WNBA contract for the 2025 season, Chennedy Carter continued her career overseas to stay active. She first joined Adelitas de Chihuahua in Mexico before moving to China to play for Wuhan Shengfeng. Her performances were outstanding as she averaged 31.4 points per game and earned the league's MVP award, proving she could still score at an elite level. Even with those impressive numbers, it wasn't enough to immediately change her situation in the WNBA, as many believed teams had already formed their opinions before she ever stepped onto an overseas court. Later, Carter appeared on streamer Neon's podcast, where she finally spoke publicly about the controversial hit on Caitlin Clark and shared her side of the story, marking the beginning of her effort to rebuild her reputation. During the interview, Carter described the incident as nothing more than a small "I'm here" message and claimed she had been elbowed before the contact, something she had not mentioned in her post-game comments at the time. She also compared the play to physical moments in the NBA, arguing that tough contact is part of basketball. Carter went on to say that she enjoys the criticism and attention she receives, a response that many fans felt did not come across as a full apology. Her comments stood in sharp contrast to her reaction immediately after the game in 2024, when she declined to answer any questions about Caitlin Clark or explain what had happened.
So I'm just like, it's like one of those things, like, it happens in basketball. I know people try to say, oh, it's not one of those things.
It's not a personal thing. It's a competitive thing.
It happens in basketball, and like it's just one of those things. But like, yeah, it's kind of what happened. Then it spiraled out of control.
And then the media takes whatever narrative they want to
you
put out.
watch every game, every single game, to see if you can find any deflects in my game, and like, it's really nothing that you probably could say too much about. So then you have trolls, and that's why I said they're gonna be around regardless. But yeah, it was just like a nice little like tap, like I'm here, not to like harm you or anything. You know, if you want to push somebody, you're gonna like full force.
And despite everything that had happened, the Las Vegas Aces decided to give Chennedy Carter another opportunity for the 2026 season. Looking to add more scoring depth as they pursued another championship, the team chose to move forward with her despite the controversy surrounding her past. That decision set up a highly anticipated matchup against the Indiana Fever, the same team and the same player connected to the incident that had followed Carter for 2 years. At halftime, Indiana held a narrow 42-41 lead. With Caitlin Clark unavailable for the Fever and Aja Wilson out for the Aces, the game remained extremely close. Neither team was able to take control during the first half, as both sides traded baskets and entered the locker room separated by just 1 point, setting the stage for a competitive finish.
Also into the ballgame for the Aces is Chennedy Carter, who is one of the front-runners for 6th Player of the Year. She is the best scorer off the bench right now in the league.
The first half was messy in the way close games always are. Neither team built a lead bigger than 6 points the entire half, and Vegas actually clawed back into it late, ripping off a 7-0 run in the final minutes of the second quarter that erased what Indiana had built. Kelsey Mitchell had 12 at the break, Jewel Lloyd matched her with 12 of her own for the Aces, and it took a Lexi Hall jumper right at the buzzer just to hand Indiana that 1-point cushion going into half. Without that shot, the Fever walk into the locker room down.
They'll have 6 seconds to work with if they get it here.
I would deny Kelsey Mitchell and not let her catch it.
She's got it. Lloyd and Young make her give it up. Hull off the bounce, mid-range, got it!
The opening half was exactly what fans expect from a tightly contested game, with neither team able to build a lead larger than 6 points. Las Vegas closed the second quarter with a strong 7-0 run, wiping out Indiana's advantage and making the game even more competitive. By halftime, Kelsey Mitchell had scored 12 points for the Fever, while Jewel Lloyd matched her with 12 for the Aces. Just before the buzzer, Lexi Hall knocked down an important jumper that gave Indiana a slim 42-41 lead heading into the locker room. Without that last-second basket, the Fever would have gone into halftime trailing instead of holding a narrow advantage.
Fingertip in there. Loose ball, and Monique with the hustle play will get Mitchell a clean look, and she'll knock down the triple.
Kelsey Mitchell.
Indiana entered the game after a 7-day break, but head coach Stephanie White made sure the time was used for hard work instead of rest. Following weeks of attention surrounding the Alyssa Thomas incident, the Fever focused on improving the fundamentals and sharpening their overall play. Aaliyah Boston said the break was extremely valuable because the busy schedule rarely gives the team enough time to reset and prepare. White echoed that feeling, explaining that the Fever had enjoyed one of their best weeks of practice and believed it would show on the court. Even so, strong practices only matter if they lead to results during the game. And through the first half, Indiana still looked like a team trying to find its rhythm for much of the first half. Indiana looked like a team still trying to shake off the effects of a long break, and there was little sign of the dominant stretch that was about to come. Early in the third quarter, the score was tied at 47, with both teams continuing the close battle that had defined the game to that point. Then the Fever completely changed the momentum. Over the final 7 minutes of the quarter, Indiana exploded on a 21-8 run, taking control of the game. Las Vegas struggled to respond, shooting just 3 for 11 during the period and failing to make a single three-pointer. At the same time, Indiana's defense forced difficult possessions, created transition opportunities, and turned those stops into easy points at the other end of the floor.
What was your assessment of the second half? I feel like it was pretty active, good showing in the first, or would you point to unforced turnovers or offensive rebound battle there? What did you see in the second half?
Boards definitely hurt us, but I thought we, quite frankly, ran out of gas. But we looked tired. Couldn't muster up enough energy to sprint into screens offensively. But the O boards definitely hurt us in the third quarter. Gets to be a compounding effect when you're not getting stops or they're getting second, third, fourth opportunities. It's just super deflating.
Kelsey Mitchell was the driving force behind Indiana's game-changing run in the third quarter. She scored 11 points in the period alone, consistently attacking the basket, drawing fouls, and taking advantage of every opportunity the Aces defense gave her. Her aggressive play kept Las Vegas on its heels and helped the Fever pull away. Mitchell finished the game with 27 points, marking her third straight contest with at least 25 points. Every big basket she made during that decisive stretch came when the Aces desperately needed a defensive stop but were unable to slow her down.
We just talked about running out of gas, but in these second halves where things kind of fall flat for you guys, what are some of the commonalities that you're noticing?
Well, in the third, like I said, I mean, our offense has to help our defense to a certain degree. That's the fastest team in the league, you know, so far as pace and pushing pace. So when we're either taking quick shots or not good shots, you know, they're just off to the races and it puts your defense behind right away.
Las Vegas struggled all night from beyond the arc, making just 4 of its 19 three-point attempts for a disappointing 21.1%. As the game wore on, the Aces appeared to lose energy, while Indiana continued to control the pace. The Fever also dominated the boards, out-rebounding Las Vegas 39-30 and holding a 13-6 advantage in offensive rebounds, creating valuable second-chance opportunities. After the game, Becky Hammon acknowledged that rebounding was a major problem and admitted her team looked fatigued during the second half. That lack of energy showed in loose ball situations and defensive closeouts, allowing Indiana's supporting players to keep adding to the lead. By the end of the third quarter, the Fever had built a commanding 68-55 advantage and were firmly in control. At the same time, another storyline was developing, as every possession involving Chennedy Carter during that stretch drew extra attention beyond the score itself.
Number 7 in black. Raven trying to go to work on her. Hines Allen swings it around to Cunningham. Top 5 in the WNBA from downtown. Raven.
Chennedy Carter finished the game without scoring, a surprising result considering the role she was expected to play for Las Vegas. Entering the matchup, she had been one of the WNBA's most productive bench scorers and was viewed as an important source of offense, especially with Aja Wilson unavailable. The Aces needed someone to help replace that missing production, but Carter was unable to provide it. In 15 minutes of action, she attempted just 2 shots and missed both, ending the night with 0 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Rather than simply being an off-shooting performance, it was a game in which she never found an offensive rhythm or made the impact Las Vegas had hoped for. It wasn't just a poor shooting night for Chennedy Carter because she never seemed to get into any offensive rhythm. Coming into the game, she was expected to provide instant scoring off the bench, the exact role Las Vegas signed her to fill. The Aces needed her to bring energy and create points whenever she entered the game, especially with key players unavailable. Instead, she struggled to make an impact and was never able to get involved offensively. As a team, Las Vegas finished with a season-low 68 points, and the lack of production from one of its top bench scorers only added to the team's offensive problems throughout the night.
You guys pregame, Sophie, and pretty much everywhere you guys go, right? Fever Nation is supporting you, and you guys are giving it back. What's it like to have this kind of environment everywhere you're going, even when you're away from home?
Man, I know a lot of teams say that every game is a home game. Sorry, I was just saying if we got that charge call or not. We didn't. But I really do believe that. I think Fever, we have the best fans in the W. Worldwide, I really think. Wherever we go, it's a home game for us. And so we just try to put on, work hard, play hard, and, you know, we just got to work on our consistency. They show out for us, and we need to show out for them.
Sophie Cunningham spent much of the night matched up against Chennedy Carter, and it appeared to be a deliberate defensive strategy. Since both players came off the bench at similar times, Cunningham was consistently there to challenge Carter whenever she entered the game. Whether by design or matchup decisions, Carter rarely found any space to get comfortable offensively. Cunningham worked hard through screens, pressured passing lanes, and made every catch difficult, forcing Carter to work for every touch. Instead of allowing her to settle into a scoring rhythm, Indiana's defense kept applying pressure, limiting Carter's opportunities and playing a key role in keeping her off the scoreboard. Throughout the game, Sophie Cunningham did more than simply defend Chennedy Carter. She consistently disrupted her throughout the game. Rather than just contesting shots, Cunningham worked to prevent Carter from getting the ball in good scoring positions, chasing her around screens, denying easy catches, and making every possession difficult. Her defensive effort kept Carter from ever finding a comfortable rhythm. Cunningham also contributed on the offensive end, scoring 9 points while knocking down 3 of her 6 attempts from beyond the arc. Her combination of strong defense and timely shooting gave Indiana valuable production on both ends of the floor. The type of performance that may not dominate highlight shows, but often plays a major role in winning games.
Wins the tip and gets him the possession. Cunningham, deep three. Got it! Her second of the ball game.
One of the biggest storylines from this game was the matchup between Sophie Cunningham and Chennedy Carter. Many fans view Cunningham as one of Caitlin Clark's toughest teammates, especially after the physical play Clark has faced over the past 2 seasons. In this game, Cunningham was matched up against the same player involved in the controversial 2024 incident, making the matchup even more meaningful for many observers. Both Cunningham and Carter are considered strong candidates for the 6th Player of the Year award, and this performance gave Cunningham another strong case. While Carter has put together impressive scoring numbers throughout the season, Cunningham made her impact in a different way by limiting Carter's effectiveness while also contributing offensively. Performances like this highlight the value of two-way play, showing how defense and timely scoring can influence the outcome of a game just as much as high-point total.
Playing their 4th game in 8 days.
Cheyenne Parker-Tai has only played 7 minutes in that first half. She's back on the floor, and Boston with her first triple.
Boston trying to go to work. Spins away from the double and gets a couple of bounces to go.
Boston's footwork inside. Look, she takes those 2 hard dribbles to the midline, spins away. That soft touch gets a kind roll.
This wasn't simply a night where Chennedy Carter's shots refused to fall. Indiana's defense, led by Sophie Cunningham, made sure she never had the opportunity to find any offensive rhythm. Finishing with just 2 shot attempts in 15 minutes wasn't the result of bad luck. It reflected how effectively Carter was denied the ball and forced out of her usual game. Cunningham stayed attached to her throughout the night, making every catch difficult and every possession a challenge. By the 4th quarter, Carter was on the bench watching as Indiana steadily pulled away, unable to make the impact Las Vegas had counted on. The game also answered an important question about the Fever. Even without Caitlin Clark in the lineup, Indiana showed it could compete with energy, discipline, and balanced contributions across the roster. Meanwhile, the Aces struggled to replace the production of their own absent star, Aja Wilson, as Indiana closed out an impressive victory.
Be a blast. There has been a Connecticut player on the roster of 21 of the 29 WNBA champions. Snakes in behind it. Smith on the drive, blocked by Boston initially.
Aaliyah Boston delivered another outstanding performance, finishing with 18 points and 10 rebounds while shooting 7 of 13 from the field. One of the biggest highlights was her 3 of 4 shooting from beyond the arc, matching her season high and showing that her outside shot is becoming a reliable part of her game rather than a one-time performance. That added range gives Indiana's offense a completely different look because opposing defenses can no longer afford to leave her open on the perimeter to protect the paint. Throughout the game, Las Vegas was forced to choose between defending Boston at the 3-point line or protecting the basket, and either decision created problems. Boston took full advantage of those opportunities, using her versatility to help power the Fever on both ends of the floor.
Mitchell off the screen to that left hand. Got a fingertip in there. Loose ball, and Monique with the hustle play will get Mitchell a clean look, and she'll knock down the triple. Harris will push 3-on-2. Billings leaves it for Mitchell. Good trail triple for Indy.
Chelsea Mitchell finished with a game-high 27 points, marking her 3rd consecutive game with at least 25 points. What made the performance especially impressive was that she didn't rely solely on her outside shooting. Although she went 7 for 18 from the field, she constantly attacked the basket and forced the defense to respond. Her aggressive style earned her 12 trips to the free throw line, where she converted 10 attempts. By putting continuous pressure on the defense and drawing fouls, Mitchell found an efficient way to score and played a major role in Indiana's offensive success throughout the game.
Allen. Shot clock winding down. Hull gonna have to jack one. And gets it to go!
That's 2 buzzer beaters.
Lexi Hull added 10 points while shooting 5 for 10 from the field, but her biggest contributions came on 2 shots that beat the buzzer. The first came just before halftime when she banked in a 14-foot floater as time expired. The basket was initially waved off, but after an official review it was counted, giving Indiana a 1-point lead instead of sending the Fever into the locker room trailing. In such a closely contested first half, that basket proved to be an important momentum shift. Hull later hit another buzzer-beating shot near the end of the game, once again delivering at a key moment. Both plays energized the Fever and highlighted her ability to come through when the clock was winding down.
Fever dub!
First dub on the road.
Remember,
Indiana's strong performance wasn't limited to its starters, as the bench also made valuable contributions throughout the game. Monique Billings played 21 minutes and finished with 6 points and 6 rebounds. Yes, including an important offensive rebound after an Aaliyah Boston missed free throw that extended a key possession when Las Vegas desperately needed a defensive stop. Rookie Raven Johnson also contributed 6 points and 6 rebounds in 22 minutes. Although she made a rookie mistake by grabbing her own tip on a jump ball, resulting in a turnover, she still earned meaningful playing time and made positive contributions in an important game. After the win, Aaliyah Boston explained that the week-long break had been extremely beneficial because the busy schedule usually leaves very little time for the team to recover, practice, and improve between games. Aaliyah Boston said the week-long break gave the team something they rarely get during the regular season: time to recover, practice, and fully refocus without immediately preparing for the next game. She explained that the packed schedule usually leaves very little opportunity to reset, making this break especially valuable. That extra preparation was evident in the way Indiana played after halftime. The Fever executed their game plan with discipline, stayed connected on defense, moved the ball effectively on offense, and had every player contributing within the system. Instead of relying on one star to carry the scoring load, Indiana won through teamwork, smart execution, and everyone doing their job when it mattered most. After everything that happened following the Alyssa Thomas incident last season, Indiana looks like a much more confident and resilient team. The Fever no longer appear intimidated or easily shaken, showing they can stay composed and respond with disciplined basketball. This victory wasn't the result of one player getting hot, it was a complete team effort, with contributions coming from the starters and the bench alike. Winning on the road without Caitlin Clark demonstrated the depth and balance of the roster. The victory also strengthened Indiana's position in the standings, where the Fever now sit in 6th place with a comfortable cushion over the teams behind them, while knowing Clark is expected to return to an already improving lineup. The final score was 84-68, giving Indiana a convincing 16-point road win and marking the franchise's first regular season victory in Las Vegas after 11 consecutive losses there. Meanwhile, Chennedy Carter, playing in a highly anticipated matchup, was held scoreless and unable to make the offensive impact the Aces had hoped for. Chennedy Carter's return to face Indiana did not unfold the way many expected, while the Fever continued to show how much they have grown as a team. With Caitlin Clark set to return, Indiana already has proof that players like Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, and the rest